Welcome to Eye on the Illini, folks. This one was a painful one. Of course, when you get a player back, it can be very, very challenging to deal with the energy that they bring to the court in the first game back. And boy, it was evident tonight when you saw Bailey and Harper together ended up with 28 and 18. 17 combined rebounds, 7 assists. It was quite a game from that duo. Illinois goes out to a place that's hard to win on the road and gets beat by 9 by a Rutgers team that this will probably be one of their highlights of their season, don't you think, Ked?
Yeah, for the NIT, and if Illinois doesn't play any better, that's where they're going to be headed to. That was this. It's a signature win. I mean, I don't
No, I
know
know it's
what
a signature win, and that's my point. I guess is that was this will be what Rutgers fans point to as their high point of the year, possibly is this victory over the Illini.
I'm going to tell you this. They have a lot of problems to figure out. There's just too many. The one negative positive I will say, Casparis has hit the freshman wall. It's happened. Will Riley went through it right now. He's got out of it. He's been their best offensive threat as of late. It's going to happen. Hopefully he can get out of it sooner than later. But they have a lot to do. I mean, I just tweeted they have to go back to the drawing board. There's nothing good about a loss like this. Brad Sturdy hit it right on the head. They came off flat right away. I'm concerned about Tomislav Ivicic. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know if he would have made a difference. The score probably would have been a little bit closer, but I don't know if he would have made a difference tonight. But there's no excuses for losing to a team that's just been struggling on the road. And Illinois is finding ways to lose. They're not finding ways to win. There's nothing good to say about it. The officials didn't have anything to do with it at all. The players have to make plays. I have said a few things about adjustment for coaches and players. Coaches, they've made those adjustments. I've said it at halftime. I want to see Will Riley play. Thank goodness for him. But right now, this is not a team that I think fans are happy with and they feel comfortable with going into the tournament, Big Ten or the NCAA tournament.
Brad?
Yeah, it's not much fun being an Illinois fan, is it? I mean, goodness gracious. It's like this team is just, they're maddening because it's a common thing. It seems to happen, a lot where it's injuries. It's Ivicic going down. It's, Trey White. Okay. He's not playing. He would have helped on Bailey. Maybe you just go down the line. It's always something. There's always some excuse for why it happens, but here's the reality. You got to come out and play hard. You can control the controllables. Even when they missed shots in the first half, they weren't getting. How many rebounds could they have chased down? And they didn't do it because they didn't have energy. How many times did they not do that? End of the game. We got a guy, and I don't know what the reasoning is, but we got guys watching other guys from the other team grab rebounds on the defensive end. They're crashed the offensive glass really hard, but on the defensive side, I mean, those guys, they aren't even like trying. They're just standing flat-footed watching guys get rebounds. And I don't understand how that's possible. They don't check out. They just run to the rim and turn around, or they just stand. I mean, that's just an effort thing. And at the end of the game, that's what it came down to. And Dylan Harper's, here's the thing. He hasn't played in a while, and they're a totally different team when he plays. He's a stud. I mean, there's a reason he's going probably second in the draft, is my guess. Maybe Bailey goes second. I don't know. But I think Harper's really good. You saw what he can do. And, but at the end of the day, Illinois was so bad offensively to start that game. You dug yourself a big hole, and you have no chance then. And even when you have a chance, you come back to the lead. And I will say this: Harper gets star treatment. There were a lot of. How's Boswell not get a foul for that one? But yet everything if you touch Harper, if you can't breathe on him, even it's a foul. He shoots. How many free throws did the dude shoot tonight? I think he shot what? It was double figures. I know he shot 12 free throws. So, it's really a weird dynamic that I don't know why, guys like, some guys don't get the same calls when they go to the basket. And maybe he's just good at drawing fouls. Maybe it's because they're on the road. I don't know. But at the end of the day, Illinois got to control what they can control. And that's just being better being better. I mean, I didn't like their scouting. I didn't feel like they scouted guys well. I thought they finally took the ball out of Harper's hands. Somerville makes a 15-footer, but this is it's just a really bad loss, and regardless of whether Harper plays or not. And you have to play better than this. And now you got another one where you should win against Minnesota. I don't feel like these guys take these games seriously. I mean, that's the only thing I can come up with. How can a team look as good as they can and play with the energy sometimes, and then other games they just have nothing? There's nothing there. There's no energy. There's no it's almost like they, and I don't want to say they don't care because I'm sure they do. But at the same time, how can you not play with energy? Just you're getting an opportunity to play. Go play it. I thought the same thing. This is very similar to the Nebraska game when you think about
exactly.
It was the Nebraska game. You come out flat, you play like crap, miss every shot in the first half, and then you come out and play. Well, you can't keep doing that. You can't keep having that. And we said they were going to be inconsistent before the season started. But we're in February now. It's time to start putting stuff together.
Yeah, I think the frustration that I have is we saw basically a Xerox copy of Nebraska where I'm not certain if they didn't pay attention to the scout, if the scout was poor, if both were true. But boy, they didn't look to take Rutgers super serious, came out and kind of playing half speed, just like Nebraska. And how many games can you dig a hole that deep that you don't learn? You need to show up and at minute 20 in the first half and start playing well. I was just disappointed that the team came out that low, especially after getting, losing to a mediocre at best Nebraska team under the same circumstances. I just didn't get it.
Yeah, I agree.
I still don't. And I'll tell you, I'm worried about Minnesota. I know we're discussing this game. There's nobody right now that I don't feel comfortable. I don't care who it is. I don't feel comfortable with them thinking that they should win. I don't care about analytics. I don't care about the spread, what Kim Palm says. Right now, it doesn't mean anything. They were favored by 6 tonight, and they look like they didn't even want to be on the court. They have some issues they have to figure out. And again, if I'm Minnesota, if I'm Ben Johnson, I'm playing a zone. I'm sagging off to make sure that they can make threes. And again, I hope Ibiza is healthy. Brad and I, if we can find out, we'll let people know on our message board. But for the most part right now, I don't feel comfortable with them playing anyone, and thinking that they're going to come out and win. I just don't, because, bad things just happen. You're right. Trey White's hurt. You get Ibiza back. Then he gets an ankle injury. Now KJ hits a freshman wall. They just don't look very good to me right now as a team. And not time to panic because we know how good they can be. But this right now, this isn't working.
Yeah, and here's the thing. KJ has to be their lottery pick. There was a time when people were talking, is it going to be, just less than a month ago. We're talking, do you take Yakachonis or you take Dylan Harper? I mean, that was actually a discussion that was going on among draft people. Like, which one are you going to take? And I don't, and at the same time, so I mean, that's not even comparable right now. I mean, he's not doing anything to really, I don't know. It's there's nothing there. He can't get a shot off. He doesn't, and when he does, he misses it. He gets an open one. Can't get to the basket. He isn't rebounding. He isn't guarding off the ball at all. And when he does guard, he fouls. I mean, he had 2 fouls on guys shooting terrible shots you want them to take, and he just runs into them. So that's just not good. And he's got to play better because he did play better early in the season. So at the end of the day, that's just I guess that's going to be, I guess that's what it is when you have you're relying on freshmen, but he certainly didn't look like a freshman early in the season. Still had some turnovers. You're always going to have that, but now it's just sloppy turnovers, like the things that don't make sense. And it's also the fouling, and it's the not rebounding, not going after the ball because I think he wants to not foul. It's
Brad, apparently you're the problem.
Well, my bad. My bad.
What are you talking about?
No, it says
this guy doesn't blame KJ. He's an 18-year-old kid. He blames Brad.
Underwood. I hope he means Underwood because I didn't have anything to do with it. The one thing I will say
Sturdy.
The other part is I think KJ's also seeing where, and we've talked about it a lot. If he's going to his left, it's the step back. If he's going to his right, he wants to drive. We're seeing him kind of be loose with the ball, and they have seen that. But you eventually, if you're a high IQ player, you figure that out. You figure out how they're playing.
Well, that's the part that surprised me most, Brad, is because usually you would actually see him in games adapt to how guys are or how teams are guarding him or how players are guarding him.
Yep.
And recently, he just seems like he's lost his confidence, and we've kind of talked about it, and somebody put it in the halftime thread. But basically, it really does remind me of when Curbelo got that injury. He could never get back for whatever reason. I'm not saying it's the injury, but boy, the confidence just doesn't seem to be coming back for him. And I have no idea if the left hand is bothering his right hand shooting. I mean, I have no idea, but they're certainly up here. It seems like he's lost his confidence.
Yeah, there's something not right. The other thing I would say, like, people keep saying this team's soft, and I don't know what does that mean? I mean,
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, if you want to say, I don't, because Illinois they played their ass off in the second half on the offensive glass. I mean, they went to the boards hard. They were physical. They battled. I mean, I don't know what soft means. If you want to say they're mentally soft, that's fine. But I don't know.
I don't think they're soft. I think people were surprised tonight how Rutgers hung with Illinois on the offensive glass, because typically Illinois gets those balls, but they didn't get 50-50 balls tonight. I mean, I know we're doing this podcast and this is our job, but I'm not going to just sit here and overanalyze this. I really believe from the bottom of my heart, we've all thought about it. Put the ball in the basket at the end of the damn day, and you got to walk up to the free throw line. The difference was Illinois shot 68% from the free throw line. Rutgers shot 82%. Again, I don't care. Rutgers shot 34 free throws. Illinois shot 19. Don't jack up as many threes. I don't. I have nothing. Even though I make fun of high knees more than any media guy in the world, I have no issues. Yes, he missed a call underneath the basket. With Kylan Boswell. So what? That didn't cost him the game. Put the ball in the basket. I'm sorry.
Here's what I'll say. Have you ever seen an official get in the middle of the play when a guy's driving to the basket, though? Have you ever seen in college basketball? Have you ever seen that happen? Like literally set a screen on two defenders. And
then Ace Bailey scored on it, and he apologized to Brad, but Sturdy, I've never seen that. And
I've never seen a guy be in that position, because usually, I mean, they know where they can go, right? I mean, these guys are
here's the deal,
officials, really.
Brad, I know you know this as a coach, but if it was me, because some people may not understand, the officials, once they're inside the lines, they're part of the court. I would have shoved his ass out of bounds. I would have literally shoved his ass out of bounds. He's not a player. They are part of the court, and that is the rule. You can Google it. It's a rule.
Probably Humbergust thought he'd get a foul. So he'd be fouling the official. Anderson shooting 2. So no, I do. I don't. It's for a game on the road in the Big Ten, I didn't think they got a terrible whistle. I mean, there was a couple of stretches. But I mean, so they help them, and a couple of times in the second half, I feel like they get into it, when they make their run. But Illinois had just as many opportunities to not let that happen too, by not taking bad shots, not making bad turnovers. I don't know. It's just it's tough, and this is it's tough. It's tough to see a team that looks so good at times and can look so bad at times too.
Yeah, I will tell you, the frustrating thing is, to me, this is a twofold thing. One is when a coach says I can't make the shots for my players, they're right, and this team is getting open looks. This is not like all their threes are bad threes. They're just not hitting what they're supposed to be able to hit. That's one problem. And then to me, the second problem is once you don't hit a shot a bunch of times, maybe you need to change how you're going to deploy that player. And let me give you a really stupid example to illustrate my point. How many missed threes would it have taken to decide that Kofi Coburn is not a 3-point shooter? And so, again, I know that's an over the top example, but for some of these, the guys just aren't hitting the shot that you would like them to. For example, Humreck House finally he got a few tonight, which was nice to see. But how many of those, that long stretch could have been him doing booty ball and getting a few baskets here and there that makes the difference between Illinois winning and losing. And I don't know, that's the frustrating thing for me is guys got to hit shots, and then coaches have to say, well, if they're not hitting the three, maybe we could do something a little different. And I'm not saying you revamp the whole team, but for goodness sakes, start rewarding guys. They'll make the extra pass, so maybe a couple of the extra passes need to go inside, or if the extra pass comes from the inside, like Sturdy has talked in the past, when you're taking a 3-point shot with your shoulders square because the pass is from the inside, you get you have a better chance of making it. I don't know, but it seems to me like it's a twofold problem right now.
Mike, I don't want to steal your thunder, but I'm just looking at the numbers. They were 6 for 28 from 3. Let's just go down the list right here. Drayvon Gibbs-Lawhorn, 0 for 4. Kylan Boswell, 0 for 3. Tommy Ivisic, 0 for 1. Ivisic, 1 for 5. KJ, 0 for 2. Ben-Hum Rickhouse, 3 for 8. Will Riley, 2 for 5. You cannot shoot 6 for 28 and shoot 21% from 3 and think you're going to beat people. You're just
especially Cad, when two guys were 5 for 13.
Well, here's the thing: your starting backcourt was 0 for 9 from 3.
Yeah,
your starting 3 guards were 0 for 9. Your starting lineup was 1 for 14 from 3.
Oh, that stings.
So basically, we got to figure out who we want to shoot threes. Don't start them and then get them in as quickly as possible.
I guess I don't know. No,
it should be a coach.
Here's the thing. The weird part about it is, like, they took some bad threes. There was one. Boswell took one.
Yeah, that was.
We all knew. Yes,
just bizarre. That was a terrible 3. But a lot of those threes are really good looks, like rhythm open threes. That they're just. I mean, we saw. I think it was Humrick House got an offensive rebound kicked out to Riley. Step in 3. He made it, and then he makes the next one, which is like that sidestep deal. Well, that was because he made the first one, so he's kind of getting in a rhythm. I don't know. It's just it's tough, and they also the other thing is, like, and I get people are saying they did a better job in the second half attacking the basket. You're right, but eventually, as teams just congest that lane, there's nowhere to go, and so there's not a lot of openings. There's not space to do things, and Rutgers had, if you notice tonight, it was very congested lane, even when Riley got in there. There was a lot of bodies and a lot of they don't have a great rim protection, but it's still him getting bumped makes it hard for him, and he made some tough shots, but it's difficult when it's not there. And Boswell, again, it's hard for him to get inside. He was 3 of 5 tonight, which is good, but he missed some close ones. It's just a tough thing there's not a lot of room. I thought what they did find some help or some good stuff going to Ivisic in the post, and he was effective, but then he gets a sprained ankle, then so he's not really effective after that. And so, and Merez isn't going to score in the post. They did go to Humrick House a little bit, with some booty ball there. He was effective, I guess. I think it was 2 of 3 from 2, but there's little things. The other thing are free throws. One team made free throws too. I mean, Rutgers shoots 82%.
Yeah, who's the team? Who's the team that is going to come out in a 2-3 zone and just let Illinois bombs away and just be content to get rebounds and go down to the other end? Are we going to see a 2-3? Is Iowa going to roll out a 2-3 against Illinois?
They might. I mean, Iowa will play zone. I'm sure they're going to play zone. I would. Now, the thing about Illinois is, though, okay, let's say we're just, okay, let's think about this, though.
Yeah.
We would say this, because we're watching this. But can you tell me when Ivisic or Humrick House or KJ, don't you think they're going to make some shots? Like, I mean, because we, so. I mean, so
no, they haven't done it, man. They haven't done it.
But they have done it. They have done it. They
It's been
haven't
2
done it
years.
in the last. It has been a while, but I'm sitting here thinking like, well, it'll be, thinking as an Illinois fan. Think about this. We always think about the worst possible scenarios. Well, okay, if I'm the other team, if I'm thinking worst possible scenarios, we're gonna play 2-3 zone, and this will be the one game when Illinois shoots like 15 for 25 from three, and we're gonna get blown out of the gym. So I don't know.
They need some luck, man. They need to find a 4-leaf clover because right now they just it's bad. And what I don't want to see, and we're not there, is this becomes personal. Guys start hanging their head. I don't want to put all the pressure on KJ because, like I said, I'm not going to change my mind. As a Beasley goes, I think this team goes. He's the one guy that I'm not going to change my tune and say, well, you know what, I'm going to stick with KJ. He's important. He makes players better. I get it. I understand. But right now, that freshman wall that I mentioned at the start of this broadcast, he's just struggling. I think going into the game, there's no way he didn't know what was at stake with all the scouts that were there tonight. It's human nature. And I'm not going to sit and blame his age because guess what? Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey are freshmen, and I'm sorry, but right now, and I'm a huge Will Riley fan. If I'm an NBA scout that saw what he did tonight, I'm liking what I saw. That kid scored in bunches. His confidence is great. He's shooting the ball a little bit better. He's handling the ball. He can get to the basket, make great passes. They just got to get everybody clicking on the same page. And I'm not going to say anything really negative about Kylan because I've been an asshole to him the last few podcasts. I just think at his age, you guys, that shot that he took, he knows better than that. There's no one basket that's going to get you 8 points, and he knows better than that.
Well, and look, I'll be the first one to tell you that a team is never as good as they are like the night of the Oregon game, and they're probably not as bad as they are the night of the Nebraska or tonight. But it's painful because they have shown such flashes. And I just think at some point as a coach, you have to change up what you're doing. And I don't know, maybe a group hypnotherapist or something to try to get them to believe they can hit 3-pointers. Although I think they believe they can hit them because they keep shooting them. So
they must.
But I don't know. Something needs to change, and they need to do something different. And again, to me, it goes down to trying to I think Underwood's done a good job with this team. When people say they're soft, rarely do I see the number one team in the country in rebounding be called soft. So they have the ability to play hard basketball. But, boy, it's the discipline that gets me, the dumb shots and the dumb turnovers.
The
if
dumb
you could
fouls.
find a way to minimize those, you'd probably be better off.
Mike, you talk about stupid plays. There was a play today. Jake Davis literally shot the guy. What I don't understand, there are 3 officials. It's not like it was in the 70s where there was 2. There are 3 officials, and you literally shove a guy in the back right in front of the official. They're going to call it. Those are stupid things that to me I just don't understand. Or KJ going behind his back and throwing a one-handed pass because it looks cute on TV. Damn it, they're not good enough to be doing that right now, and they just aren't. And they do things that there's just good teams don't do. Walking up to the free throw line like I mentioned and not making free throws. If you're going to make a run and you want to be a team that everybody thinks you're going to be in right now, I don't want to hear that anymore. Shooting, 21% from 3 and 68% from the free throw line, I'm not cool with it. And I'm not. We're all different. We're all entitled to our opinions. I don't blame the coaches. I think they got the ball to Will Riley in the second half. He got a start. They're getting open looks. That's their job. They're getting layups. I thought Coach Underwood ran some good out-of-bounds plays. I've been the biggest jerk in the world about that. They ran good sets. They ran an out-of-bounds play for Will Riley to get a baseline 3. He missed it. I don't know if people are looking at that, but I know I saw it. So I have no problem with what the coaches did tonight. This is on the players. And if people say, oh, kid, you're wrong because they're kids, bullshit. They're all 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. They're not babies. Other teams do it. You had a guy from Rutgers shoot a Magic Johnson shot over his head. I mean, that should get you pride. Mike, and maybe I think what people are talking about, that people are mad and being soft, maybe they want them to go out and punch people, but this isn't boxing. Illinois is a tough team. They rebound really well. They typically defend really, really well. I'm not going to say they're soft. I like their aggressiveness when it comes to going to the boards, even their guards. And Robbie Hummel mentioned that a couple of times on the broadcast. They're not soft. They can't go out there and punch people. This isn't football or boxing.
Yeah, I guess the softness they're referring to, but is mental. But the other thing I would say is mental. If they were mentally soft, they would lack confidence to shoot it. You know what I mean? They don't clearly lack confidence to shoot.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, so they feel like
self-awareness, maybe
they lack self-awareness. There's something there, but because they're not shy. I mean, when I see a guy hesitant to shoot, that's when I think he's mentally kind of broken. And I thought in the second half KJ was broken because he didn't take a shot. I don't think in the second half, did he? Did he have it?
No, that's the number one. Yeah, they've got to get him back on track.
Right, he had one layup. He had one layup in transition there. Riley hit him for a layup that I think tied it or gave him the lead there in that one stretch. But that was the only shot attempt. So your star guy, who is your highest usage guy, plays 11 minutes because of foul trouble, takes one shot attempt in the second half, basically does nothing. Did not get a rebound in the second half. I mean, that really can't happen. He had 2 rebounds for the game. He's got to be better than that. And, some of that is just – and so I don't know. I think he's afraid to foul, so he's not playing as hard. But then he fouls because he's, whatever. I've noticed him trying not to foul, and I think it's weighing on him that shots aren't falling. And, I think they I don't know. The game's physical. And the Big Ten, it's more physical. And I know they were dismissing it early. College, it's not, it's just a game. It's just basketball. But I really think the physicality is weighing on on him, especially. I think, and so I think it made it tough, and he's got to make that adjustment.
And I also don't think he's played against players who can stay right in front of him this close. He was able to move and get space, and then he could bring the ball straight up in front of him without much problem. And now you're playing players, particularly in the Big Ten, who are athletic enough that if you try to bring the ball in front of them, they aren't going anywhere when you fake them. They can go right with you and be right there when you're done. And he's got to figure out how to get that ball into the shooting pocket, because he does have about twice a game he'll lose one just taking the ball up on a shot or right in front of him, and he's just got to figure that out. I mean, that's just an adjustment he's going to have to make to playing basketball in America,
which takes some time. Like I said, I think Will Riley's kind of figuring it out. But as good as he was tonight, with his 18 points, he missed his last 5 shots himself. Again, I mean, that takes away from it. Somebody has to be that guy. And last year is last year. I shouldn't even bring it up. You had Terrence Shannon and you had Marcus Domask. I don't think they have that one go-to guy, if you will. I think Will Riley tries to be that guy, but I just don't think they have it. And, Draymond has been great. The last few games, he wasn't himself tonight either, but he had 6 points, but on 3 of 8 shooting, 0 for 4 from 3. It's too bad that it's happening, but if you're going to have one guy like that, you just, like I said earlier, you can't have a full roster of guys just not making shots. And Brad, I think right now you're right with KJ. I think it's a mental game with him right now. You can see when he shot those free throws, he looked like he knew he was going to make it. When you short arm it like he did against Ohio State and then today, because he has a beautiful stroke. That, to me, as a coach, I'm just saying that's mental. Some coaches like to address it, some don't. Some just say, if I say something to them, then it makes it worse. If you don't say anything to them, you encourage them, they may forget it. Every kid is different. This kid right now, to me, he's beating himself up.
Yeah. Maybe he's 4 of 28. 4 of his last 28 from 3. Tonight he's 1 of 5 from 2. And he's, for a guy shooting 82%, he's 7 of 13 from the line, including missing 2 front ends. So really that's 7 of 15 from the line over the past 2 games. And so I think that's weighing on him. Not to mention he has 23 turnovers over the last 5 games. So that's I think he's just really putting a lot of pressure on himself and trying to do maybe more than he can, and I just, he's got to find it, because the reality is, I mean, I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's this and that or whatever. Okay, this is a dude that was putting up, what did he put up, like 6 straight 20-point games against teams like Missouri, Tennessee, Wisconsin, Northwestern, Arkansas. Not against low majors either. I mean, this dude can play. He can play. He's a really good basketball player. And he's really talented, and that's why he's on draft boards to be in the lottery. And I think he slid from the top 5 down to probably, maybe in the teens. But at the same time, there's a reason guys want him, and it's because he's really talented. Now, he's just got to make that adjustment and kind of find his way. And everybody has, he's, like you say, he's a kid. He'll get there. What I would like to see, though, is just him do those little things, get the rebounds, be a defensive stopper, those types of things. Play defense off the ball. Don't lose your guy as much. Those little things like that, which he can control. You can't control shots going in, but you can
limit his turnovers, limit the silly turnovers. That's another one.
Yep.
I think that right now, a lot of people are really starting to see that figured out, and you're going to have them. But the ones that he's having right now, they're carelessness. They just don't. And they come at really, really bad times, I guess. But I think he'll be fine, Brad. And that's a great assessment, because he was great, and I think once he gets his mojo back, if you will, I think he'll be fine. I just don't know when that's going to be. It's nice right now, though, to say that you want to see them hit this wall before the end of the season, because once he gets going and they get Abisa's back, and you see Merez play great. I mean, he wasn't good on the glass tonight, a lot like he has been, but I attribute a lot of that to Rutgers. I mean, I really do. I think they're a really, really good team. Merez only had 5 rebounds, but he also had 4 fouls and only played 22 minutes, so that probably has something to do with it.
Well, and the thing that's interesting to me is I really believe that college coaches don't want to play Illinois until they get a chance to see how the wind's blowing the first 3 or 4 minutes of the game. And then they go from, boy, I don't want to play these guys, to, oh, they can't hit anything tonight. This is going to be fun. I really think that's the way this team is for college coaches right now.
Well, and I'll still say this, and I still talk to other staffs. I still talk to people and other coaches. And so I'm telling you right now, every guy, I mean, every team, when you talk to them, they're the one team. Illinois thinks these are coaches think Illinois is the best team in the Big Ten, or the most talented team in the Big Ten, has the most upside in the Big Ten. That's from Michigan State. That's Matt Painter. That's Tom Izzo. That's, you go down the line, and they will tell you that. Now, that doesn't mean that they're there yet, because they're young and they're still figuring things out. So, and I want to address something. Somebody keeps saying KJ is checked out and all this stuff. They're done with him. You are totally wrong. This dude is in the gym all the time. He is working his ass off. He is as distraught as anybody. So I don't get, that is just completely false. And if someone's telling you that, they're totally wrong. And if nobody's telling you that, then stop it, because you're wrong. I'm just telling you. Because
you're angry that Illinois loses, it's hard to project onto players. I'll tell you, what really used to trip me out is when Juice Williams would walk off the field and people would say, look at that, man, he's confused. Well, he had the same face walking off the field after they scored a touchdown as if they didn't. And so people were putting their own thoughts into Juice walking off the field. I mean, I don't know. Once you start trying to get in the mind of another human being, that's next to impossible. But I will say, whatever confidence issues KJ's having, the coaching staff has to figure out how to set him up for success. And I don't know how you do that, but boy, I would be trying to run some sort of action that lets him come across the middle and get a nice, easy layup to start a game. Something, easy for him to build his confidence. Ted, I'm going to let you do your final thoughts, and then Brad, you'll go up right after him.
My final thoughts are, I know people are upset. You have a right to be upset. I'm not, I'm frustrated with the players. I feel bad for them. I really do. They have a chance to still do really, really well to make a name for themselves, but you can't continue to lose to bad teams. I'm sorry, Rutgers. Don't take it personal. You are a bad basketball team. You were 11-11 coming into this game tonight. Illinois is better than that, but you know what? Maybe they're not. And I don't know, but what I won't do, I'm not going to take personal, deep, negative comments about players. If I think a player's playing bad, I'm going to say that. I mean, that's just nature of the beast. But right now, they have a lot of soul searching to do, guys. They have to get better, and I want to see the team. You're not going to see a team that go out and the way they shot the ball against Oregon. But if you get a team that perform like that, I think that's the only team that we should see and what people are expecting. Don't give up on them. I think the coaches will figure something out. Mike, you're right. They'll find a way to get KJ going. But again, that freshman wall is real. It happens to a lot of players. It happened to Rutgers. It happened to Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. They just hit a wall, and it's at different stages of the season. Just be patient. Don't give up. I know people are mad. I understand. But at some point in time, things are going to click for them. And 12 Michigan State fans, you haven't learned anything yet.
Brad?
Yeah, no, I'm just not a big believer in talking about guys like this. I mean, I think you can discuss their play, but if a guy is checked out and a guy's not playing hard, I mean, trust me, we know it. I mean, you're going to find that out. And I just feel like this team just is struggling from the figuring out how they fit. It's different pieces every night. They're trying to figure out how they fit together, what they can and can't do. Who is the guy? I mean, they play KJ basically off the ball in the second half just because he was struggling. They had to play through Will Riley, and he was good at times, but I think then they go to the well a little bit too often. They tried to play through Ivasic. Things just aren't clicking right now. But at the same time, it doesn't mean they're not going to click the rest of the season. And I think if you want to get really good players, that's part of it. I mean, I've never understood, we want to get really good players, but then we don't want them to leave after a year. Well, yeah, you do. I mean, I don't understand that. I mean, you want guys to play in the NBA. That's how you get more good players. And so that's the whole point. And this is, but they're going through a rough patch, and it's tough. I don't feel like the one thing where this team lacks, I don't know who's the player leader is right now on the floor.
Yeah, they don't have an identity like that of who.
And
I
don't think they have a guy. I mean, last year you knew that. I mean, whether it was Hawkins, whether it was Damask, whether it was Terrence Shannon, go down the line, you had old guys. This year they're young. I mean, even Boswell, he's a junior, but he's supposed to be a sophomore. And Hummerkaus is so worried about his own play, I think, because he's had to step up a level. He can't really be a leader like that, and they aren't going to look to him for leadership. And so maybe it's Ivasic. He's a little bit older, but he's also a first-year guy. So I think it's tough. But I think that's where that's where you get into these ruts and you struggle and you things because you don't have that player leadership. And I think Brad's trying to figure it out too. And, I think this team could get better, a lot better, or they, if they keep missing shots, they're probably not going to get better. It's just that simple.
Yep. That's kind of where that's kind of where I think, these guys, hey, it's really hard to put your opinions and your anger and your, oh my God, Illinois is supposed to be undefeated, and and then project that on some kid, regardless of. I know people feel like they have the right to, now that kids make NIL dollars, so I guess you get the right to rip them. But I don't know. I think I've always looked at a basketball season as the longest of all the seasons of sports that I care about, because baseball doesn't count for me. And I think it's the biggest journey, and whether we like it or not, there's still 2 months left in this. And I'm assuming that Brad Underwood is trying to figure out solutions, and he hasn't given up, and that's what he has to do. And he has to have that same, the players have to have that same thought that they're going to play better tomorrow than they did today. And then they got to get out there and work hard so that can happen. Now, whether they can all pull it together, and that's part of the magic of basketball. We see who can do it, but they've got to figure out how to make shots. And right now that's just not happening. And until it does, this team is going to be ripe for being upset on a regular basis. So with that, folks, we are going to head out of here. Please subscribe to IlliniGuys.com. $99 a year, and you get all the stuff on the back pages, the message boards, the rumors, the innuendos, things that we cannot put out there as stories. So because maybe somebody's not willing to stand by them, but yet at the same time, it gives you inside information please take a look at joining us there. Of course, follow us on the IlliniGuys.com YouTube channel, and you can also follow us on the all of our podcasts. You can find the Eye on the Illini podcast. You can find Ked's Recruiting Roundup, Sturdy for 30, Heat Checks and Hail Marys, and our radio show, the Illini Guys Sports Spectacular. You can find that on your very favorite podcast distributor. So please take a look at us there. Until the Minnesota game, which we will all be on pins and needles, nervous. And for this game, we hope the first half goes a heck of a lot better, especially the first 5 minutes. But until then, folks, go Illini.